Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Master Duel video from the Lavender Lab. Today, we are going to be looking at the brand new pack, the Apical Predators, for the NR format. Now, if you have not seen any of these before, basically once a month, Master Duel gets new packs, and for the NR format, which is only the cheap cards in Master Duel, I do a breakdown of everything you need to know about them. So, without further ado, we can get right into the pack, and as you can see, the Apical Predators features some Megalith cards, some DDD cards, and some Yummy cards, which only two of those are really going to be important. And if we scroll all down here, you can see we've got quite a few options and quite a few new cards. There's some new Yummy cards, we got a lot of the Synchro material for it, and we got a lot of DDD cards, as well as quite a few free agents that we may be able to take care of and take some advantage of. So, without further ado, let's start with the DDDs. Now, DDD Sage King Alfred. This card is 2 DD monsters. If during your main phase, you can fusion summon a DDD fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling its materials from your hand, field, and or banishment into the deck. And if it is banished, you can target Dark Contract continuous spell traps in your graveyard or banishment up to the number of DDD monsters you control and place them on your field. Now, the important thing about this card is it is not self-restricted, and it is a level 6 DDD monster. It is more importantly a level 6 Fiend monster because you can summon one Alfred and then Alfred use the material you just summoned to summon a second Alfred and overlay for a DDD Wave High King Caesar. This card is really strong, and this card is a card you've probably seen if you've seen anything with Fiendsmith. It can negate the effects it special summon, and it's a very nice card, although it's likely not enough to make DDD any sort of meta threat in the NR format, but it certainly makes the deck far better through the use of Sage King Alfred. Next we have DDD First King Clovis. This is a generic 6 synchro, and if it's synchro summon, you can target a banished DD monster, or if a Dark Contract is on the field, you can target one in your graveyard and special summon it. Very nice reborn, very easy to use. If it's banished, you can activate this effect, give all of your DD monsters piercing, and that does include the DDDs, which are the different dimension demons. So, this card is a fairly nice utility tech option. It's also a level 6 Fiend, so you can also use it to lean into Caesar plays, which is really nice for the deck. But to summon it, you are going to need a tuner, and the tuner of choice is likely DD Lance Soldier, the newest of the DD tuners. You can target one DD monster you control, increase its level by up to the number of Dark Contract cards in your field and graveyard, and if it's in your graveyard, you can target a Dark Contract you control, destroy it, and special summon this card, but banish it when it leaves the field. It's a level 2 Fiend tuner, so you can use that fairly easily with a lot of other levels like 3 and 4 by modulating it with the Dark Contracts you have. And so it's a very easy way to bring out the DD Synchros. And it's a very convenient card as well, just for getting extra material on the field. DD Defense Soldier. This card has two effects. You can either target a DD card in your pen zone and special summon it, or you can banish a DD monster from your graveyard. Then if your DDD monster attacks this turn, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. The DDD monsters are mostly the high-end extra deck monsters and some big main deck ones that you're probably not playing. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add a DD Pendulum monster from face-up extra deck or graveyard to hand. Now, this card does have a lot of utility, but as far as I have been made aware, it does not have a whole lot of utility in the ways you normally want to utilize it. So, use it if you can find a good spot for it. Luckily, what does lean you into some of your new payoffs is Dark Contract with a different dimension. This is the newest DD Contract card, and you can use it once per turn during your standby phase, take 1000 damage. That is the same effect for every Dark Contract card. You can shuffle 2 Dark Contract cards from your graveyard into the deck, then banish a card on your opponent's field or graveyard. This is a trap card, which means you can actually use it responsibly. And if it is destroyed, you gain 500 life points, and if it is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, gain another 500 life points. I have no idea why they printed that effect on there, but you know, free life points are free life points. From here, we enter the Yummies, and I will tell you right now, Cookie Yummy Way is the only Yummy that people are actually looking at, because as you might have noticed when I did the overview, these are the only Yummy cards we got in terms of monsters. We got none of the main deck monsters, and we did not get the Link 1 monster, which is a big problem when you realize that these cards cycle their archetype, and there's nothing to cycle. So, unfortunately, we only have the Synchros. However, they are really easy to summon level 2 Synchros. You can use a Link 1 monster you control as a level 1 tuner to summon these Cookies or Cupsies or Lollipos, which are the Synchros we receive. And if Cookie is Synchro summoned, you can target up to 2 face-up monsters on the field and change them face down. This is actually not an awful board-breaking effect, all things considered. And what you can use it for is to just beat over some monsters. A lot of monsters don't have as good of defense value, or you can use it in offensive ways, defensive ways. There's a lot of ways to take advantage of it, depending on how you utilize it and when you can utilize it. There aren't a whole lot of decks that are looking at the Yummies at the current moment. I cannot say the same about Cupsy, which adds 2 Yummy monsters from your deck to your hand, then discards a card on Synchro Summon, which, unfortunately, there are none that are able to be added, which is really unfortunate. But Lollipo is only slightly better, but it's really hard to set up. If it's Synchro Summon, you can special summon 2 Yummy monsters from your graveyard, but negate their effects. And the problem with that is that that would require you to get 2 other Yummy Synchro monsters into the graveyard, and all you are doing is getting 2 level 2 monsters on the field with their effects negated. That's not a whole lot for the effort required, so they're not really expected to make a splash. Neither are Yamusement Akroki or Yamusement Mignon, which is offensive in the sense that it boosts your Yummy's attack, but light beast monsters are already hard to come by, and we don't have any level 1 Yummy monsters for it to resurrect. Finally, we have Yummy Redemption, which is a card that I am just going to skip over because it is bad even in Yummy. Replicard Lad. This card, you can banish 1 other level 7 or higher monster from your hand, special summon it from your hand, and then you can target 1 face-up monster you control, special summon 1 monster from your deck with a different name that has 2 or more of the same level, attack, and or defense, but it cannot activate its effects this turn. This card can target itself, and it is a Dark Cyberse with 2500 attack and 2500 defense. Now, this can summon a lot of good cards in the NR circles. You can summon things like World Legacy World Armor, you can summon the Regenesis monsters that we have, including Dragon, which is a fairly useful interruption that you can get online from your deck with this card, as well as a whole host of other cards. Ashlan U1000, 2 monsters, different types and attributes. It gives all of your ritual monsters a point to piercing. Very convenient. However, the other effect is where things get really important and really strong. You can reveal 1 ritual monster in your hand, add a ritual monster with a different type and attribute from your deck to your hand. And if you ritual summon the entire 1 face-up card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. So, in a deck such as Vendread, you can search different ritual monsters, or if you have another ritual monster such as a Megalith, you can search for Vendread Slayer. But also, this ability to bounce cards just by ritual summoning is really, really nice. Many Vendread decks were playing a Link 2 called Cross Sheep, which is able to give you some minor benefits when you ritual summon. However, what you can really utilize with it is getting extra bounces with Ashlan U1000. This card slots in very well into every existing ritual deck that is out there, such as Megalith, such as Vendread, and such as Duel. So I highly recommend using it if you are a ritual enthusiast. Next, we have Dark Flare Swordsman, and I need you to hold your breath. This card is not as strong as it appears, but it may still have a nice niche in our warrior pile decks. You take no damage from battles involving this card, and you can send 1 Flame Swordsman or a monster that mentions it from your extract to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. Also, you're locked into attacking with warrior monsters. Quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon a monster that mentions Flame Swordsman from your deck, except a level 6 monster, so not another copy of itself. But that's fine, you're not really using that last effect anyways. What you can use this for is to send the original Flame Swordsman from your extra deck to the graveyard. Now, why would that be important? Well, I'll tell you. For Grand Knight of the Red Lotus, which is a very strong warrior card that takes advantage of non-effect monsters in your graveyard. So by sending the Flame Swordsman that is a non-effect fusion monster, you can shuffle it back to your extra deck to summon Grand Knight of the Red Lotus. And so it doesn't get its extra attack, but it's extra free fodder. You can also utilize Dark Flare Swordsman in 6 Samurai, which is a sort of speculated deck that has had its player base. However, it's never actually cracked to the top, at least not in any recent events. Needless to say, this card has a lot of potential in the fact that it is a free special summon and a mill from your extra deck. However, overall, it's just not able to make a splash in current Infernoble builds as much as it probably could in other things, like 6 Samurai. What can make a splash in some Infernoble builds, though, is Saiba, the Soldier Swordsmith. One tuner and a non-tuner, it is a level 7 synchro monster. You can target a level 6 or lower warrior in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. Also, this card cannot be used as synchro material for the rest of the turn. However, that's not a big problem, because during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect synchro summon using a warrior monster you control as material. Now, importantly, what this means is in Infernoble, you can use this card to revive Infernoble Knight Captain Roland. This is one of the strongest cards in the Infernoble deck, and it's often what they synchro summon with. But what you can make with it is, now that you have a level 5 tuner and a level 7 non-tuner, you can synchro summon into Transcendosaurus Glaciosaurus, which, if you don't know what that is, Transcendosaurus Glaciosaurus is a level 12 water dinosaur synchro. It's generic, cannot be destroyed by battle, and if it is destroyed by card effect, presumably, you can shuffle a normal monster from your graveyard into the deck, then special summon this card, and then it gets extra protection. Beyond that, now we have Leo, Wizard of the Dark Fiend. This card is actually being experimented in Tindangle, of all things. I bet y'all weren't expecting that, but it is a level 4 Dark Spellcaster, where if a player would normal summon a monster whose original level is 4 or lower, with more than 1350 attack or defense from their hand, they must tribute summon it by tributing one monster. And at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a monster, you can destroy that monster if it's light, and if it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add a monster with 1350 attack from your deck to your hand. Now, this floodgate is really, really odd, but in essence what it reads a lot of the time is, for 1350 attack or higher monsters, your opponent just can't normal summon them, unless they already have monsters on the field. But this card can be used in any deck that doesn't really need its normal summon, like Tindangle, and then sometimes it can floodgate your opponent out of doing their normal plays, until it's removed anyway, in which case it has no protection. However, it does have that nice floating effect that can even search itself, which is really, really interesting. It's more of a card people are speculating with rather than actually considering for meta viability, but there is something to be noted about its floodgate effect. However, one card that is really not to be noted is Soulicer Crystal. Cannot be destroyed by card effects, it is a level 6 monster, and if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand, and then it's an effect monster negate. Now, this card has awful stats, and its summoning condition, while it seems easy for a monster negate, is not as easy as you might think. There's often times where your opponent will have monsters and you will have monsters, in which case you can't really use this card. This card cannot be used going first either, which makes it really annoying to combo with. There's not really a good place to slot this effect in, although theoretically it is a monster negate, and there's only so weak a monster negate can be. We move on now to Sakura Vendorage, which is a generic Psychic rank 4. You can attach a material from this card, target a level rank 4 Psychic monster in your graveyard, summon it. And then if a monster is special summon while this card is in your monster zone, you can target one other face-up monster on the field. That monster's name becomes Sakura Vendorage until the end phase. So, this card is basically a pseudo-heraldic beast in the sense that it can remove something's name. However, there's not really a good position to put this in any Psychic deck. Most modern day NR Psychic decks are looking to loop cards like Cyphering Lord Zeta using other Psychic Synchro monsters, like the ones I went over with last month in my pack breakdown, if you would like to check that out. But this card, there's not really a good spot for it. However, the fact that it does something does make it rather interesting in a Psychic strategy. It's just not anything crazy. Solfachord Solfegia. This card is likely not ever going to see play because there's only really one relevant Solfachord, and this card says if you control no monsters or all of them are Solfachords, you can special summon this card from your hand. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. You can also tribute this card. Special summon a Solfachord from your hand except Solfegia, or if you tribute summon this card when you activate this effect, you can special summon from your face-up extra deck or graveyard instead. The fact that this card doesn't even summon from deck is really, really saddening. And its pendulum effect, when your opponent's monster effect activates on the field, if you control a Grand Solfachord monster, you can negate the effect, then destroy this card. That doesn't really do anything either, as we don't have the Grand Solfachords, which are the Link monsters. But there's really not a whole lot you can do with this card unless you're looking to play dedicated Solfachords, which, be my guest, there's just not a whole lot to do with them. Finally, we have Let's Go Together. If you have no Let's Go Together in your face-up field, graveyard, nor banishment, banish 7 cards from the top of your deck face down, make your opponent banish 7 cards from their extra deck and or top of their deck face down, and they must declare how many are banished from each beforehand. So, basically what you can do with this is kind of pseudo-mill your opponent, because no one is going to be banishing up to 7 cards from their extra deck if they can help it. However, the fact that this card is restrictive in that you can really only play 1 copy ever in the duel, and you can really only use it once effectively either, makes it not terribly good overall, and then the fact that it's also a mill card is not very easy to slot into a whole lot of decks. However, it is at least interesting, and unfortunately there's just not a place for it, which is probably for the best anyways. So, with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. My name is V from Lavender Lab. Please go check out the NR format. The link to the Format Friends Discord server that houses a lot of these formats is in the description, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.